It's like putting a kitten in the jungle. If you throw a kitten in the jungle, how you gonna survive? He can survive if you don't say it. If you put a kitten in the jungle around the beasts and the everything that'll eat a kitten, how you gonna survive in the jungle when he used to drinking milk? Vernon was used to drinking milk.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just say real life street stars. You know what time it is.
We are bringing two individuals from the opposite ends of the track to sit down and have a conversation with us and amongst each other. And this is an inaugural episode, so this should be very interesting. I'll allow you guys to introduce yourselves and before I go into it, but of course we have, as y'all see him on the couch, the story of Vernon, and also the infamous, okay, OG Percy, man. But Vernon, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself for the camera.
Vernon Miller. I had the story about being raped while I was in prison.
Thank you, and if you don't mind, Percy.
Okay. Y'all know who it is. OG Percy, show no mercy. It's where my daddy cursed me. I'm just alumni on Reallyfe Street Stars.
Alumni.
Yes,
there
sir.
we go. Well, we want to have a conversation in which, again, we would like for y'all to speak to each other in regards, or have a conversation with us in which let's just have a dialogue. The first things first, Vernon, you came out and you basically gave a story that most people technically would take to the grave. Technically, they wouldn't be so open to tell this story, but yet you kind of bared your soul and you spoke on it. And of course, for good, bad, or indifferent, the world received it. For you, first and foremost, speaking about things that happened to you in prison, how was that for you to even speak on it? And then, Percy, I'm gonna ask you the same question, but please go ahead.
It's rough. It was rough. I mean, I still have moments when it's hard to talk about.
Yeah. Percy, for you, you again, Tales from a Crypt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
You were able to tell stories that, that again, the average citizen hasn't touched foot in a jail or in the penitentiary system. The average citizen hasn't done anything like that, but you're able to come out here and relive these stories. How was it for you being able to tell these stories of your time through incarceration?
Something you just asked Vernon that you said a while ago. You asked him, you said a story like that, a person would usually take it to his grave. I heard you just say that a while ago, and I'd like to shake Vernon's hand and thank him for not taking that story to his grave. You hear me? I'm thinking because a lot of people take it to their grave. And I got one of my sons, they need to hear it, firsthand. You dig what I'm saying? That's a story a lot of people hide. And when you hide the truth, youngsters will never get the truth. Youngsters look at the truth. Everybody think everybody come from the penitentiary is tough and made it through. Vernon could have easily came out and said he was one of them guys.
If you have a lot of those gangsters in there.
Guess what? A lot of them come out and do that.
A lot of paperbook gangsters.
Hello.
A lot of
he said the realest thing, paperbook gangsters. A lot of them, and like I said, I'm glad he didn't take it to his grave. In 2024, he's probably the first person that ever stood up and been a man. When the rest of them said that they was men coming out, knowing that they didn't go in and they went in a man, but didn't come out fully a man. And they ain't gonna tell you they go to their secret corners with that story. And I'm glad that Vernon didn't hide the truth.
That's real. So the first thing I want to touch on, and again, I want to have y'all have open dialogue about is, Percy, you went in there from the stories you tell again, you went in there saying, hey, I'm in here, I'm gonna fight for my life if need be. And you did.
Yes, sir.
Vernon, you went in there kind of a little more green, not saying I'm gonna be a person who's fighting for my life. What is the mentality behind that? And Percy, I'll let you start first as far as knowing from the streets of when you come out to going into this system of like, no, it's going to be, I think the first day you fought, right? The first day.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, so please speak on that as far as that mentality of going in.
Any man that go in somewhere, you'll be allowed to say that you're not scared somewhere inside of you.
That's true.
You'll be allowed to go and say, you can come in there with your chest up and your head up and your chest out all you want to. It's something in there scared. You're in a place, you're in a habitat, you don't know what can happen to you. Some people stick their chest up knowing they ain't got no chest to stick up, but just want to be that way. I went to a unit where they prey on the weak and they prey on the strong. You couldn't come in no type of way. The job was never to come in there. But due to my hard-headedness, I ended up in a place that I thought I was tough, so I went somewhere where they had tough guys for me. To go in and say that something can't happen to me is because, like I told you, I learned from experience. I learned off of people like Vernon. You understand me? When I say Vernon, I learned off people because I seen what can happen to a man. And when you a man, you hear me? I seen what can happen to a man when you a man. I mean, when you go in there and say I'm a man, I'm gonna come out a man. You don't know that. You can't say that. When we got 3 big men bigger than all of y'all that want something from you. You only got so much power. And you're gonna have trouble with one man as it is. Just imagine 3 or 4 that want you at the same time. That's how I get when you strong enough to protect yourself.
Could I ask you to have a nice guy mentality going in? Does a person have to erase that? Like if they're a nice guy, just they're very respectable. I don't want to use the word like friendly, but just very respectable. Can you go in there with that mentality on day one, or do you have to cut that off?
It's cut off when you enter the your mentality ain't what give you up. It's your look. They can look in your eye. You don't gotta say nothing. The only thing give you up in prison is when you open your mouth. A man will never know who you is if you keep your mouth closed. Vernon, nothing would have never happened to Vernon. Vernon would have never said nothing. Believe me that. I don't even gotta look at him and tell you that. It's only one way to survive in prison, and that's ears and eyes. This right here get you in trouble. It's like putting a kitten in the jungle. If you throw a kitten in the jungle, how you gonna survive? He can survive if he don't say it. If you put a kitten in the jungle around the beast and the everything that'll eat a kitten, how you gonna survive in the jungle when he used to drinking milk? Vernon was used to drinking milk. What I mean by that, he wasn't used to living out there where we got to hunt for his food and kill and eat for meat and stuff like that. So that means he was green in the jungle. As soon as they put a kid in the jungle, he said, meow, everything in the jungle wake up. They heard you. They heard you.
I like the analogy.
You ever say his analogies be like...
Yeah, his analogy, you're right?
My bad.
Now, a little bird, they wake up.
Yeah.
Vernon, do you want to rebuttal?
No, because I kind of agree with that because I did go in simply because I didn't know anything about prison. I had never been around other than Eric, but he was in Angola. I'm going to the feds, so I'm thinking it's gonna be way different than Angola, let alone state prison. So I just my assumptions on the federal system or the federal prison was just way, way different than what I actually found out once I got there, basically. It wasn't as rough as I thought it was gonna be, but it was still rough.
Vernon, do you agree with what Percy said? You should have just kept your mouth closed. That's the only way people can know who you are.
I wish I would have stayed a little bit more quiet, a little bit longer until I got used to people, in general.
So I want both y'all can speak on this and jump in whenever you want. Because y'all are from 2 different sides of the track. How many prison stories did y'all hear prior to your first time going in, whether jail or whatever? Vernon, you can speak first as far as how many prison stories or jail stories did you hear prior to your first time?
A few. I mean, probably outside of Eric, probably none. I just didn't. I wasn't around that lifestyle. That people that have been out of prison. If it really wasn't for meeting Larry, I probably would have never met Eric.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like just circumstance.
Percy, for you, just coming up from, how many stories did you hear about jail, prison?
Watch this. I like to correct Vernon on something. He heard his first story. He just didn't know it was his first story. Because we all heard our first story. You heard your first story. You probably ain't never been to prison. You ain't never been to prison, have you? I don't expect, but everybody heard their first story. You know what your first story was? Keep doing what you're doing, you're going to end up in jail somewhere. Hello! That was your first story. That was your first. That's everybody's first
Hey,
story.
man.
I appreciate it. Believe it, he just didn't know he heard it. But he heard it. He was told. He was told to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to end up, guess what? You know how many times I heard that? And that was my first story. It made me went, what is jail? What is prison? What is that? Well, you keep doing what you're doing. You're going to go find out. My mama told me a long time ago when I was, smelling myself. You're going to mind somebody. She told me that. If you can't tell me what to do, who gonna tell me what to do? Oh, don't worry. Child call. Showers. Guess what? I'm doing what somebody told me to do now. I gotta get up and get ready to go eat. I'm minding now. Work call. I didn't know what she was talking about till I ended up somewhere where I had to mind somebody. And I said, you know what, mama told me I had to mind somebody. What is it? Field call. Get up from there. I got to get up and go to work. I got to. Now I'm somewhere I got to mind somebody. I was told my first prison story. That was my first prison story ever told. Keep doing what you're doing, you're going to end up in jail or you're going to end up dead somewhere, person. But you heard the jail stories through people that was going that you didn't know. Like he said, Uncle Larry's and Curly's and Moe's and Eric's and stuff. You hear me? Yeah. The sad thing about prison back then, y'all, they used to tell you it was a bad place to go.
Shit,
Tales from a crib.
my mama said, you going to the feds, you going to the country club. Swimming pools and golf courses. Like, okay, all right, it ain't gonna be so, prison ain't gonna be so bad. Prison ain't gonna be so bad.
I gotta hear this tale.
I forgot where I was at.
Wait, so let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What year did you go in?
95.
Percy, what year was your first time?
89.
89, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My number 557023. 1989 was my first unit. Ramsey 2 unit. Rochelle in Texas. I entered the first prison boot camp. The first prison boot camp ever made in the state of Texas when Sharon Wilson was in. She gave you 90 days if you could make it through. You would have to make it through first. I went into prison when you was just doing 30 days was a year. You can get 30 years.
I've heard that.
You get 30 years to do 30 months. I went to prison when you can get 25 years and do 25 months. 1 month was considered a year in prison back then. You know how crowded prison, and you come home, you get $150. You know how many people was catching 3 years and 2 years and 5 years and just going to get that 150 and come home. Oh, don't worry about it. Y'all think I'm, didn't y'all remember the saying back in the day, they said the prison was overcrowded? You ain't never heard that, have you? Well, I was there when you had to step over people. You had to find a corner and find somewhere to sleep at. People everywhere. And they getting out. They PIAing out the county. They paroling out the county. They ain't going to prison. They going home from prison. They getting their number in the county and going home. It was a rehab for people. It was a rehab for me.
How old were you, Percy, when you first went in?
I was 17.
Vernon, you were?
I was arrested at 20, but by the time I made it into the system, I was 21.
Let's do it like this.
Go ahead.
You're 17 years old. You already getting down. You already know that here. For Vernon, he was very green. What could he have done? What was the name? You went to, what was your first?
The first Leavenworth.
Leavenworth. As a 21-year-old, this is talking to the nation now. As a 21-year-old going into a federal penitentiary system, what could he have done differently, you feel, Percy, as far as to not be considered prey out there?
To do what we all should do from the start. Listen to our mom and dad. Listen to people around. It ain't got to be your mom and dad. It can be Uncle Leroy, Uncle Eddie, and Uncle Eric. Okay.
Johnny.
But hey, the person that's telling you what to do right, that can prevent a whole lot of stuff. Like I said, I got backlashes last time that I was here because I said I gave a standing applaud about my sons being in prison. But I left out a very important statement during that interview. The reason I gave y'all that applaud because I want y'all to know it's only 2 calls you can get doing them things. You can get we found him or we got him. That's the part that they overlooked in mine. I know that I got my butt whooped for saying I applaud, but they left out they caught the mess, not the message. The message was I get the chance to see him again. If I get a call saying, we found him over here, wrapped up on side of the building with a gun in his hand, a bandana around his head, dead. or we found him behind the store, or we found him in the street, or we found him in an apartment, we found him somewhere else. He's gone. I didn't get that call. We got him. God damn. And I gave myself an applause because my kids always know that I tell them all the time, on the road you going down on, you're not gonna make it. I still got some sitting around. You understand me? It's their choice to listen. It's not my choice to make. You hear what I'm saying? It's their choice to listen. It's not my choice to make. Me and Vernon, we had choices. We took the choice we thought, but Vernon, you know, I gotta applaud him. He got away good. He got away good. You know, besides what he had to go through, but shit, that's what we go through when we think we don't want to listen no more. We end up in situations we gotta listen. Or it'll cost you.
Shout out Reallyfe Street Starz, nigga. Moolah. Hey.